Hi everyone, Coldam here again with another VOX Immortalis commentary guide. This video is for the normal difficulty of Blood Princes in Icecrown Citadel. To begin, the raid setup is actually pretty flexible, especially for tanks. We choose to use two primary tank classes, one on Valinar and one on Tal'Daram, and then we use a Shadow Priest as a ranged DPS tank on Keleseth. Keleseth doesn't melee, so you can use whatever you want on him. But I'll explain more about that later. So the first thing you'll notice is that the princes themselves all share one health pool, and at any given time, only one prince will have positive health. This means that prince is empowered at the time, and one of his normal abilities will actually be increased or improved, such that it's pretty dangerous. So I'll explain these in a moment here. Also, DPS should always attack whichever prince has actual health, as doing damage to the other ones doesn't do anything. So Tal'Daram right now is empowered, and you can see a flame orb coming out from him. So he casts these orbs, whether he's empowered or not. But while he's empowered, they are very dangerous. And they'll randomly pick someone to chase, and once they reach melee range of that player, they'll explode for pretty hefty damage. However, they have a sort of stacking buff, and as they're traveling, you can see this orb on the left here. It's sort of shooting at that druid, and it will shoot at me just before it explodes. And this removes some of the buffs on it. And once its buff stack gets low enough, the actual explosion damage is pretty low. But if no one runs in front of the path while it's traveling to its target, when it explodes, it will pretty much kill that person. Right now, Keleseth is empowered. He will cast Shadow Bolts on his primary tank the entire fight, but while he's empowered, these can deal up to 80,000 damage before they're mitigated. So the way you deal with that damage is you use these dark nucleus around the room. These little black orbs that spawn. They have a unique threat in that they'll attack the person that most recently attacked them with a single target direct damage ability. You can't use Thunderclap or AEs to aggro them, but taunts and such do work. So our Shadow Priest tank, to gather them up, he uses rank 1 Shadow Word Pain, and this keeps a low damage dot on them. And then once they're aggroed on him, they'll channel Shadow Resonance, which can stack for as many nucleus as you have, and it reduces the damage from shadow abilities on that person by 35%. This is not additive, so you can't get 3 of them only and be immune. It's multiplicative. But when Keleseth is empowered, you want at least 4 or 5 nucleus on that tank to survive the damage. Next up is the tank the mob I'm on, Valinar. When he's empowered, he uses Shock Vortex, and this causes everyone in the raid to, after a while, knock everyone else back that's within about 10 yards of them. So as you can see, he's casting it right now, and our melee are running out in different directions, and this way, if we stayed stacked up, we would all knock each other back and hit each other for damage, and each person would hit every other person. But if you spread out properly, then it doesn't actually hit anybody. So those are the empowered abilities. When they're not empowered, the princes still use abilities, but they're not as dangerous. So for example, Valinar there, he's casting Shock Vortex normal. And while he's not empowered, this is just on a random raid target, and it drops a little whirlwind. If you look above my character, you can see one spinning around. And this does damage and knocks anyone back that's too close to it. So try to communicate who it's being cast on to the raid, and they can move before it hits. He also casts Kinetic Bombs. If you look on the top right of the screen, you can see a yellow bomb there. And these just float down toward the ground. If they reach the ground, they explode and hit the raid, knock everyone down. But they can be attacked with single target abilities, and that will push them back toward the top of the room. So it's important your ranged DPS watch these and call out targets that they're going to be on. If you have any pet classes, pets can just stay on them full time, and that will handle them fine. Also, Tal'Daram, the guy on the left, will use glittering sparks, which is a dot, and it's a magic-based thing. It reduces the movement speed of the target and does fire damage, but it can be dispelled. So if anyone can dispel those, that's helpful. And then he still uses Conjured Flame even when he's not empowered, but it's not very deadly. So just make sure the player targeted knows it's coming. And so those are all the basic abilities. The real challenge is just handling the nucleus for the Kelesith tank and staying spread out for empowered shock vortex. And then the empowered flame player needs to run away. Thanks for watching.